So hey folks, how are you all doing today? It's John again, and today I thought I'd do something a little bit different than normal. It's targeted towards people who use Vectric products. So if you're using one of the ArtCam products or Bobcat, Bobcam, HSM Works, I apologize. This is really targeted towards the tool I use. But if you're using an Omni 1325 and you're using one of the Vectric products, this video is for you. You will find it very helpful. There's a lot of free stuff out on the internet, courtesy of Amanda Chung and Alan Zhang. I found a lot of it. There's a lot of stuff just about like, why even draw a stool? There it is. Just cut it. There's customizations of the software itself, installation of new gadgets, how do you change your post processor, a lot of things like that. So I'm hoping you'll enjoy it. I'm hoping you'll find it useful. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, for my next trick, I'm going to create some more free drawings and install them into Vectric so that we can reuse them again on demand. So the first thing we need to do is do a search on Google for free DXF files. Now keep in mind, you got to watch out for copyright laws. I don't need to tell you all about that, but as it just so happens on the Scan2CAD website, those rules don't apply. Okay, so what I have is I've gone out and looked up for free DXF files, and this one's Scan2CAD. There are several other out there that have great DXF files that are free for your download. So we've got the URL. Let's go to Google, and we can see there it is. Okay. Now I have already created an account here, which is free, and logged in. So I don't think that that's necessary to explain. And there is our Scan2CAD file. Okay. Now what it's going to cover is railing inserts, free DXF files. So if we click on download, we're going to see that it's unzips right here. And let's go ahead and open that file. And there is our DXF files. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and copy that. Well, no, let's not. We can't copy that file. So let's go back a little bit. And let's copy this. And let's go to downloads. You can see I've downloaded that file a few times. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom this out to make things a little easier and paste it right there. Place the files in the destination. Sure, we don't care. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and shrink that back down. And so there's our DXF files. Railing 1, Railing 2, Railing 3. So we're going to go back to Aspire now. And we are going to say import vectors. And we're going to import the vectors from this folder right here, and we're going to put it right there. And I already imported Railing 1, so let's import Railing 2. Yes, I don't care too much about the colors when all I'm dealing with is vectors. And I'm just going to click and drag and shrink this thing a bit. And I'm also going to press G for group just so that it doesn't get a little messed up if nothing's bound together. And there we go. This is a 24-inch by 24-inch model, so you can see it's still quite large. Okay, so there we go. So now let's say File, Save As, and we're going to save it as a carve file. Okay, and so there's our carve file. Let's go back to our folder here, and let's save those babies where we want them to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy that, put that right there, 2D vectors. Okay, now this is Railing 2. You can see there's already a Railing 1 in there. Let's put Railing 2. And you can see that we're saving it as a VCarve file and not as an Aspire file. And that's so that we can use it in Vectric VCarve Pro, VCarve Desktop, and Aspire, because there's nothing really in here that we need to have for Aspire functionality. Now we will get a little prompt here. Any features in the document incompatible with VCarve Pro, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so, okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and close that model up. Don't care that it changed. Let's create a new file. Say OK. And we're going to go over to ClipArt, 2D vectors, and let's see where railing is at. So there's railing 1. Oh, there's our refresh. Let's not do that. That's cloud. I'm sorry, I pressed wrong. Okay, so we want railing 2. And we're scanning very slowly here. There's railing 1. You know what? I think I'm going to have to restart once again. Don't care about that. And I'm going to go ahead and start Aspire 9.5 again. Create a new file. Click on OK. Go to ClipArt, 2D vectors, and we're going to look for railing. Railing, railing, railing. Where are you? You're hiding from me. Oh, there we go. There is railing 2. So we drag that out there and boom. So now what have we done? Well, we've downloaded some vectors that were free off the internet. We created a file. We saved the file as a VCarve file, not as an Aspire file, into this directory. Okay. Sorry, wrong folder. This directory right here. And I'm going to put this in the YouTube video description. And so now we are able to do this right here. We don't ever have to recreate that. It's pretty handy. And if we wanted to create toolpaths out there, let's see if we can create a VCarve toolpath out there. I've got a feeling it's going to say no because I think there's probably some open ones. But let's go ahead and try. Oh, wow, that was easy enough. So let's see, preview all toolpaths, and there we go. We are golden, ready to go, free stuff. That's a good thing. Next, we'll go to some easier stuff. Well, I've forgotten what trick number this is, but this is one of the cooler trick numbers. You can go out and you can find all sorts of router bits out there that may not be listed in anybody's tool libraries. So you're going to have to create them yourself. Now, for the purposes of brevity, I'm not going to go through all the dimension creating and stuff. I'm just going to give you the 10,000 foot overview on how to add a tool to your tool database. Okay, so let's say that we're just going to create a nice little simple tool. First, we can only use the lower right hand side, or this side right here, for the creation of tool databases. The reason being is that it uses that lower right hand side to formulate the calculations for how wide the tool is, what the image should look like, etc., etc. It's pretty important, but we're not going to go into any great detail about it right now. So I'm going to go ahead, I put it in node mode, and I cut the vector, and now I can pick whichever one I want. I'm going to pick that one and delete it. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a straight line. This is going to be a funky router bit. Okay. And I got to join those two. Okay. So I press J, I click on join. So there we go. So here is our router bit. Now it's pretty big since this is a 24-inch file. So let's go ahead and shrink it down a little bit. Okay. Now that dimension actually matters when you import the tool, because the importation functionality is going to look at the size of that vector and say, okay, this is how big this vector is. this is what I need to be concerned about. Now the other thing is going to be concerned about is, do you try and turn inside on the vector? In other words, is everything extending to the right or at a minimum extending straight up? So let me explain what I mean here. Let's say that everything out to here, it will accept, okay, in that 90 degree. But now if I were to do this, it's not going to accept that. That's because VCarve does not calculate side cutting. Okay, that's something you got to do in your head. This also won't accept. Okay, so let's say that we're right there. We go ahead and select it. Okay, and let's go to our tool database. That's this button right over here. And let's just say, let's create a new folder called Funky Tools. And so we're going to go to Form Tool, and there is our shape. It's made it symmetric, and we're going to call it Funky Form Tool, and there's our diameter. All that information is added in for us. Okay. So now the default spindle rate is going to be 18,000 RPM. Speed rates, we decide whether or not we're going to accept all these. We can modify them if we choose. We're going to go ahead and click on apply, or OK would do what just as well. And let's delete that just so that we know that we're actually using the one from the library. And let's go ahead and say we're going to cut it. We're going to cut that path. So let's select Profile Cut, and let's select a tool. And let's go back over here to Form Tools. And there's our Funky Form Tool. Okay. Click on Apply. OK. Now we said we're going to go to 0.5 inches. Let's just see what we get at 0.75 inches, because I don't remember exactly how deep that was. We calculate that. We reset our preview to see what it looks like, and we preview the selected path, and there is our Funky Form Tool. Okay. I don't know if we're going to make any money creating tools like that, but there we go. That's how we do it. Okay. Now, if you get one, I would recommend, let's say you went to Freud or Whiteside Tools or one of the prominent tool makers that doesn't provide the DXF or PDF files or any other vector files that you need to create this, then what you're sadly going to have to do is measure that very accurately with your own tools, preferably calipers, and create your tool from there. But now you've got the 10,000 overfoot view on how 10,000 foot overview, excuse me, on how to create your own tools. Okay. Once again, any questions, contact me. Okay, this trick has a little bit of danger associated with it. I say a little bit of danger because you can accidentally delete your tool database. Okay, so what we're going to do here is show you how to recover your tool database, but in order to do that, we're going to have to copy the original tool database that was provided with Vectric and rename that file to what Vectric is expecting. Okay, so let's go to File, and we're going to go Application Data Folder, and we can see that there are all sorts of folders in here. Post P stands for Post Processor. Okay, so if we go down here to Tools, we see Tool Database. Now there are two folders in here. So let's say that we completely screwed the database up, or we completely measured some tools incorrectly, and we want to correct that, and we want to correct it on only one machine, and then perhaps give all of the other machinists copies of the corrected file. Well, what we can do then, and I'm going to go ahead and copy mine and back it up because there's quite a bit of customizations here. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it. Okay, so there's, I'm going to rename that original, just so that I don't mess anything up. Let's just call that tools, tool database, original. Yes, I don't care. All right. So now here is the one that Vectric Aspire is reading from. Okay. So this is the one that we presume is contaminated or corrupted, whatever, however you prefer to refer to it. So now here's the original one that came with it. So let's copy that. Let's paste it. Okay, and now we're going to rename it. Okay, this is where the potential danger comes from, because if we overwrite an old file or do something to this one in this process, then we are going to be in a problem situation. Now, I believe you can go out and ask for a copy or download the original tool database, but you need to go to the Vectric website to do so. And if we know this ahead of time, then we don't have to do that. Okay, so there's our tools.tool database. Okay, so let's restart Aspire. And let's go back up here and start Aspire up. Create a new file. Say OK. Now we're going to create a little circle there. And we're going to close that up, and we're going to say, let's go and create a tool path. So I'm just going to do something, a simple one, the profile tool path. And it's going to ask me to select which tool I want. Now you'll notice that it's saved in the preferences funky form tool, which I created in the previous video. In this video, though, that one should not be available. And if we look, it's not. We're right back to what the basic installation gives us: imperial tools and metric tools. Okay, funky form tool is not there. Now, I don't know if you remember, but there was also a subfolder in here that was legacy tools, and that was from the Legacy CNC machine factory, who I happen to own one of their machines also. So now we're all golden. Okay, if we tried to create this tool, it would fail because it's not going to find the funky form tool. So let's go ahead and select the 1/2" end mill, select OK, calculate, yada, yada, yada. Here we go, preview selected path. Not particularly interesting, but hey, it is necessary sometimes for us to cut out 2D profiles. So that's how we recover our database, okay? We want to be able to do that so that in case we ever corrupt it or whatever, then we'll know where to go and fix it. On to the next trick. So now we're going to go to trick number 2 here on the magician's travel list. We come over to Aspire, and let's say we want to see if we can add some more freebies, because free is always good. So if we go down here to Clip Art and Projects and click on Design and Make, I'm not going to, do it right now because I've already done it and I don't want to have the window get screwed up. So let's come over here, and you'll want to get an account. The account is free, and you just log in to Design and Make. Okay, so I click on Sign In. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is, you can see that I ordered The Last Supper, and it already shows that I've downloaded. Okay, now we click on Free Products, and wow, there's a lot of them. It's fairly cool. All right, so let's see. Let's download. Which one do I not have? Let's go Home for the Holidays. Okay, so we click on download that for free, and we're going to get a little installer. Okay, as opposed to a big installer, that is. And we click on that, and that will start the executable. And we click on yes. And so now, holiday number 4, project setup wizard. I agree. Next. Successfully added. Okay. So it's added into our project. Click on finish. So let's go over to Aspire. All right, let's create a new file. And there's our ironwood again. And let's go to modeling. Okay. Ooh, I'm sorry, clip art. So let's go. Ooh, there's Home for the Holidays. Great. So we didn't have to do anything. It's all set up for us. So if we want to add in any of the models that were free, free is good. Okay. So that's pretty cool. So let's step on to our next easy task for customization. Okay, for trick number 3, we're going to actually install some functional abilities within the Vectric application. This should work within Vectric Desktop, vCarve Pro, or Aspire. So let's assume that we need a specific post processor for our machine. Now, to give you an idea of what the post processor is, it does some stuff to the G-code file after it's been generated by Aspire to make it custom for your machine. So if your machine has any kind of specific functionality, it goes into the post processor. And then when everything is done with Aspire, the post processor is run. Okay? So let's go up here to Toolpaths, and let's go to Install Post Processor. Now, as it just so happens, I went out to the internet and I looked up post processors, and I found out that all of the Laguna machines have downloadable post processors right here. So if we were to click on Swift Download, we'd see we get a PP file. Let's go ahead and open it up, and you can see that post name is what's going to show up inside our download selection for saving our code in G-code format. There are a lot of other customizations in here. If you're really interested, and I recommend that you get interested, go out and read about post processors and G-code itself. Okay, so we come in here and we say we're going to install post processor. So as it just so happens, I picked the Laguna Smart Shop. Now it says a post processor with that name already exists. Would you like to override it? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and say yes because I put that one in there. Would you like this? No, I don't want it to be the default post processor. Okay, so now let's go over here. I did make one slight modification so that I could detect that it was the post processor that I created or that I added. I put a hyphen in the name. Okay, so this is all sorted alphabetically, and if we come down here, we can see there is my post processor. So you can see that there's Laguna Smart Shop ATC, which generally stands for Automated Tool Changer, Laguna Puma, Laguna Swift, etc., etc. So there's the one I picked. All right. So if I happen to start using Aspire and I'm using sort of an oddball machine, or maybe it's got a strange controller on it or whatever, then I can go out, contact the manufacturer, ask them for a copy of the post processor file, and install it this way. And that way, my CNC should work with all its functionality for me that way. Any questions? Contact me. Now in this video, we're going to sort of act like a software administrator. Okay, I work as a software engineer in my day job, and in my evening job, I work with my CNC. So it's quite often important to make sure we have good configuration control. So let's give you an example. Let's say we got an expert machinist, knows Aspire like the back of his hand, and we got a newbie, and we don't want to have to teach the newbie everything. We're going to teach him all the stuff that, or her, that's specific to our company, but everything else, let's make it easy on them. Okay. So when we go to create our toolpath, let's say we want to make sure that newbie dummy does not accidentally calculate that, close, does not accidentally pick the wrong tool to save as their cut path. Okay, so if we click on save here, we can see, wow, we got loads and loads of post processors, and even I've done it, and even I've done it. Everybody has probably done it at one point in time. Okay, selected the wrong post processor. So how do we get around that? Okay, well, what we do is we open our application data folder, okay, and we can see here that we have post processor, and then we have my post processor. Now, if we put anything under my post processor, a .pp file, and it's a legitimate file, then Aspire is going to ignore everything under the other default post-processor file. So because I own an Omni, I'm going to go ahead and copy my Omni CNC, OmniTick inch arcs. So let's go ahead and copy that. And let's go up here to my post-processor and paste it. Okay. So let's see what happens now when we restart Vectric. No, I don't care. Okay. And now we're going to read it back up. Let's create a new file. Sizes are good. Circle. Let's center it up. Let's create a tool path. We're all golden on that. So let's calculate it. Okay. So let's preview visible the tool path, and there we are. We're good. So now we're going to save our G code, and let's see, OmniTick arc inches. That's all that's available. So that can be a very handy thing if for no other reason than that's all you want to see. If you don't want to search through hundreds, potentially more post-processors. So this happens. There can only be one, as far as I understand it, in the My Post P folder. So let's go back and open our data, application data folder. Go to My Post P. I'm going to select that and I'm going to delete it. Okay. I'm going to close the folder back out. I'm going to exit and I'm not going to save it. Now I'm going to restart it back up, create a new file. Everything there is okay. Let's draw a circle. Very boring, but hey, that's not what we're trying to teach here. Let's go to Toolpath and let's create it. And we're going to use a 1/2 inch just like we did before. We're going to calculate it. Okay. So let's preview the selected toolpath. Make sure we haven't screwed anything up. There it is. Very boring. Now let's save our toolpath. Okay. Yoo-hoo! Look at, there's all of our post processors back. Okay. So as long as there's one post processor in that folder, it's going to read that folder only. It saves you some time. It can also make things easier on the newbies, and it allows you also to maintain configuration control. Because you can lock that folder up so that somebody can't get in there. You can have your post processor that's specific to your machine with any customizations that you may have added, and that way nobody can get in there and mess around with it. Very important stuff. So now we're going to go to trick number 2 here on the magician's travel list. We come over to Aspire, and let's say we want to see if we can add some more freebies, because free is always good. So if we go down here to Clip Art and Projects and click on Design and Make, I'm not going to, do it right now because I've already done it and I don't want to have the window get screwed up. So let's come over here, and you'll want to get an account. The account is free, and you just log in to Design and Make. Okay, so I click on Sign In. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is, you can see that I ordered The Last Supper, and it already shows that I've downloaded. Okay, now we click on Free Products, and wow, there's a lot of them. It's fairly cool. All right, so let's see. Let's download. Which one do I not have? Let's go Home for the Holidays. Okay, so we click on download that for free, and we're going to get a little installer. Okay, as opposed to a big installer, that is. And we click on that, and that will start the executable. And we click on yes. And so now, holiday number 4, project setup wizard. I agree. Next. Successfully added. Okay. So it's added into our project. Click on finish. So let's go over to Aspire. All right, let's create a new file. And there's our ironwood again. And let's go to modeling. Okay. Ooh, I'm sorry, clip art. So let's go. Ooh, there's Home for the Holidays. Great. So we didn't have to do anything. It's all set up for us. So if we want to add in any of the models that were free, free is good. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So let's step on to our next easy task for customization. Okay, here we go for cool trick number 3. Let's create a new file here, and well, let's just call it 10 inches because this is going to be a little bit different kind of file. All right. So now we're all set up for our model. Let's go ahead and see if we can find a free 3D model and import it. Okay. So there's a website, 3D Content Central. I have placed that in the URL, so you're going to go in the description. So there it is. Okay. Now I have already created my account, so it's free to create. I'm going to log in, and I'm going to put in my email address. If I can type, that is, and my password. Click on login. And it still doesn't like that. All right, let's try my other email address. Okay, there we go. All righty, and let's go ahead and save that. So now I'm just going to look for something simple. I'm going to look for like a chess piece. And there's a chess piece, king chess piece, no description provided. There's queens. These are all things that are created by people who do CAD work, and they just post them out here for free. Okay. Now you might say, well, why for free? Nobody does anything for free. Well, you can contact that guy, Owen DeJagger, and say, hey, man, I like the way you created this chess piece. Can I get you to create a 3D model for me? And that's where he makes his money from. Okay? So now we can see that the Preview 3D model is coming up. eDrawings is the plugin. And I'm going to go and shrink that down a little bit. And there it is. We can drag it around. We can see what it looks like. Pretty cool. Okay, so this is the options for downloading. Now we can go in here and select any kind of download file that they support. And I am going to select an STL file because that's pretty much the most common. All right, so there's my STL file. The format is 3D. I don't care if it's zipped, and this will remind me afterwards to come back in and say, hey, thanks for the model, looks great, whatever, but I'm going to turn that off right now. I'm just going to click on download, and now there's a little backwards magic going on the server to convert the one file into however many different formats it's possible, and I'm going to click on King 2, and there it is. Okay, there's my user library, so I'm going to show in folder, and I'm going to save that path, okay? And then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go to Model, and I'm going to say Import Component 3D Model, okay? So up here, save that, and we're going to come down here, and there's our user library, King 2. Actually, I'm sorry, I picked a queen. So we go ahead and open that up. Now it's going to go through the process of how do you want this model. So we've got it topped. Okay, that's okay. 0, let's center model. Okay, now we need to resize the model. So let's go ahead and save it down to 10 by 10 by 20 and recenter the model. And we want it in the middle. I'm going to create both sides. And scale model. There we go. All righty. So apply perspective. Now we don't care that. So we click on OK. And there is our model. Okay. Oops, you know what I did? I said reflect both sides. So what I am going to do is I am going to turn off the bottom, and there we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Okay, and now I've got the top, which is what I want. Okay, there's my model. So now I'm going to go over here to Model, and I'm going to export as 3D clip art. Okay, so now I can place it anywhere I want to, but for right now, I'm going to go ahead and get my 2D vectors because it just so happens there is a 3D vector folder in there also. So let's come in and copy that in there, and we're going to back our directory up a little bit, and there we go. So you see there's 3D tabs, panels and shields, plants and banners. These are all the categories that you can see. So let's just put it under miscellaneous, and we're going to call it Queen Chess Piece. Okay, so let's save that. Okay, let's go ahead and close the model. Nope, don't care about that. We've seen that we pretty much have to refresh Aspire. So we're going to go ahead and bring Aspire back up. Let's create a new file, and it's 10 inches thick. We're all good. Now let's go over to our clip art, and let's go to clip art, and we just put it under miscellaneous, and there's our Queen Chess Piece. Yay! Easy to use. Easy peasy. Okay? Pretty cool. Works well.
You got the blues too.